Skill-based matchmaking is making a return as far as discussions go, so let's talk about it. You know, it's comical that almost after every single Call of Duty release, especially with the modern Call of Duties, the discussion of skill-based matchmaking comes back in full force. And Modern Warfare 3 is no exception. And it's specifically only Call of Duty. With other games, people have kind of accepted the nature of the game, and because of that, the matchmaking itself doesn't become the main reason as to why the game is so unenjoyable. Apex itself is seen as a really sweaty game because of the nature of it, as it is a battle royale and everybody's trying to win. Taking it casually just means losing. And with Overwatch, most of the hardcore player base is playing competitive anyways. If you're complaining about skill-based matchmaking in a competitive queue, well, you're just kind of making a fool out of yourself. And also, you don't really hear any complaints from quick play Overwatch players, so, you know, Overwatch doesn't have the same discussions regarding skill-based matchmaking as Call of Duty does. And that's what I find so funny about the situation about skill-based matchmaking, because it only really comes back when Call of Duty is back into the limelight. A new release and new promises that the game is going to be better than ever. And in reality, it's the same old, same old. And personally, I'm not in the surprised camp. I haven't played any of the Call of Duties after Modern Warfare 2019, so I really don't care. But after the release of Modern Warfare 3, a lot of the discussion came back in full force. People talking about just how sweaty game lobbies are, people reverse boosting, all of that. You know, same crap, different day. And because of that, the same points are brought up over and over again. People who dislike skill-based matchmaking mostly resort to the fact that it just isn't fun. It isn't fun to sweat your butt off on every single match of Call of Duty, especially if you're not playing a ranked mode, as you're just playing Call of Duty casually. If you're of decent skill, then a lot of the times matches are gonna feel like if it's the Call of Duty League finals. Everybody just choosing the best weapons, the best perks, the most broken things in the game in order to win the match. You can't really have any variability with your loadouts or your gameplay style because guess what, you're just gonna get rolled by everybody else going the absolute meta. And just having that constant stream of always having to try your best just isn't fun. It's exhausting, and at the end of the match, it feels like, man, why am I even playing this? I'm supposed to be playing this game in order to have fun, and I'm not having fun. Sure, I might have won or lost, but man, it's just so exhausting. And for the most part, I understand these sentiments. If you're playing Call of Duty like the regular, mainstream, old Joe, someone who works a 9 to 5 or goes to college, you really want a game that doesn't require that much time commitment and you can play with your friends, you know, something that's very much pick up and play. And that's one of Call of Duty's specialties. Call of Duty is very much a casual pick up and play game. Huge quotation marks on the word casual, and it's very understandable to see why people are gonna get just so frustrated with the game if it just feels like it's always a sweat fest. However, then you have the other side of those who do support skill-based matchmaking and believe that the other side only wants to remove skill-based matchmaking because people who just aren't the best players want to feel super powerful and they want to play against weaker players just so that they could have that high rush of dominance in a sort of more malicious way. Which is why you have reverse boosters and those who sagbag their own games in order to get those easier lobbies and get frags and clips and all this other stuff. Which is definitely a fair point. Skill-based matchmaking is there to help people who are new or just don't have that much time commitment to get really good at a game. More often than not, the average player would just totally curb stomp a new player or somebody who just doesn't play video games. I mean, have you ever seen somebody who doesn't play video games try to play a first-person shooter? To say that they struggle a bit is a little bit of an understatement. There is very much justification for skill-based matchmaking, as you need to partition player bases by their skills in order to make the game enjoyable, at least for their average experience. I mean, if you've ever played any kind of real-life sports, or maybe something recreational, basketball, soccer, you know, in real life with either your friends or your buddies, you always try your best to kind of even out the teams to make sure that if little Timmy has to go against Thomas, who is 26 years old, give little Timmy the 18-year-old Joey and pair up Thomas with the 10-year-old Jonathan. Sure, the teams at the end of the day might not be completely even, but it's a lot fairer than just putting a bunch of kids against adults, you know? And overall, it's a lot more fun. And that's the ultimate goal right there with balancing. It's to make the game fun, because nobody wants to play a curb stomp or get completely dominated. If you're out there in the real world playing a sport, you want it to last for a pretty good amount of time. You want it to be engaging, you want it to be entertaining, And most importantly, you want it to be fun, and that's what balancing is supposed to bring. And that's the goal with skill-based matchmaking, which is supposed to make the experience enjoyable. However, based on the recent discussions, it appears that it has been failing at this avenue for the longest time. And Call of Duty, in these recent years, has been the culprit of just some of the most unfun game lobbies that you'll ever experience in any multiplayer game. Because, let's be honest, alright? Call of Duty is a casual game. You can't change the facts. Call of Duty is a casual game. You can sweat your butt off, but at the end of the day, it is in no way a competitive game experience at its core. It's always been casual. It's always been something that you play with your friends. It's always been something that you're supposed to enjoy. You're not supposed to pay the most detailed attention to every single match that you play. You're just supposed to drop in, have fun, and get out. Call of Duty is in no way Counter-Strike or Valorant or Rainbow Six Siege or any of those games. It's a casual game, and making it have a skill-based matchmaking that's just so egregious completely defeats the point of it. Now, if rumors are to be believed, Call of Duty's matchmaking isn't that complicated. At the end of the day, your match-to-match performance and your kill-death ratio weigh the heaviest when it comes to deciding which matches to put you in, with very little standard deviation when it comes to skill in order to put you in matches. And I believe that this is the biggest culprit, because without any variance, then games are always going to be the sweatfest if you're performing really well match to match. Without that variance, and I'm talking about regular casual Call of Duty lobbies, I'm not talking about league play or anything like that, right? These casual lobbies. Without that variance, or without that little bit of randomness into it, all you're gonna get are consistently sweaty matches that make them consistently exhausting. And when a game becomes exhausting, you just don't want to play it anymore. It makes every match feel like if it's the Call of Duty League finals. Everybody always choosing the most meta equipment, the most meta weapons, perks, attachments, whatever, and you just can't have fun with the game anymore. So let me leave you with this, right? This is a quote from Max Haberman. He was a developer for Halo 2, and I think he puts these words into something a lot more concise than I could ever come up with. Especially with his experience as being a developer for Halo 2, implementing the matchmaking system that they have. And this further just drives the fact home that older games were just infinitely better. They were handled a lot better from a lot more talented individuals. I'm not saying that there aren't any more talented individuals, but with games like Call of Duty that are cutting corners with really tight time schedules and focusing so much more on data and analytics rather than actual customer experience, it's really hard for any of that actual talent to rise up above all the sludge and monotony. So anyways, he says, obviously no one wants to get stomped continuously. On the flip side, it gets dull for most people continuously stomping others. However, it is fun to have the upper hand some of the time. The failure of modern skill-based matchmaking, in my honest opinion, is that it's designed to maximize these perfect match scenarios and minimize others. When it's working, a majority of games become super tight, super stressful, and that's just not fun for most players. And given the fact that all of the complaints are coming from a matchmaking that's not meant to serve league play, remember, this is all just regular matchmaking lobbies, something that you just drop into. I just couldn't agree more. These games are supposed to be fun, not stressful, not diet ranked. And I know that this is really going to be an unrelated out-of-field reference, but if Mario Party is to be believed, a little bit of randomness goes a long way. But anyways, that's all I have to say here. What's your opinion on skill-based matchmaking? Do you believe with the Halo 2 developer? Or do you think things should just stay the way they are, with a very intrusive skill-based matchmaking that's infesting regular lobbies, not even competitive lobbies? Remember, this isn't about league play, this isn't about ranked, this is just about regular multiplayer lobbies. Make sure to leave your opinion down in the comment section below. If you found this video interesting, like it if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. If you'd like to see more content just like this in the future, make sure to subscribe. And if you'd like to support the channel, I do have memberships enabled, or maybe you can just drop a super chat. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to my fellow patrons. I will catch you guys later.